Hey everybody, Dr. Keith here again. Let's practice some more queries. I also want to teach you a couple of new things. Hopefully, I'm going to assume that you've already done this video and this practice with the gold star data. If you scroll down here, I've added a few keywords. Now, depending on your instructor, especially if you skipped this DB4 like some instructors do and got straight into SQL statements, she or he may want you to also learn these other keywords in SQL, distinct, top, and union. So I'm going to teach you those along with give you more practice on everything else above in this Twitter example. Now some instructors may not require you to learn this though, so check with your instructor. Alright, here's what we have, a data file. Go ahead and get it downloading. This is a database full of actual tweets all about a particular product. That product is called Amazon Web Services. It's currently the most popular, and who knows, by the time you watch this, I'm sure it's still going to be at least one of the most popular cloud computing platforms used to deliver websites, web applications, APIs, all kinds of things. Anyway, the tweets are all tweets that people have made about this product, and we have several things about the person. We have a first name and last name that has been completely randomly made up, generated from a random name list, but then a lot of other data which is actually real data. So we have this value. Is this tweet a retweet or a reshare from another tweet? How many times has this particular tweet or retweet been itself retweeted? Clout score. This is a unique score that represents how important the person is who tweeted this tweet. So Clout's another website that will give you a score. You could go to it right now, clout.com. Put in your information about your Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, LinkedIn, all those different social media platforms. If you put in your info, it'll give you a score between 0 and 100 that represents how many people follow you, how many people like you, how many people retweet your stuff, that type of thing. Sentiment refers to the tone of the tweet. So is this a positive tweet like, hey, I like this product, Amazon Web Services, or negative, this is the worst product in the world, we hate it. So the score here is negative infinity to infinity. 0 meaning it's a perfectly neutral toned tweet. Negative number means a negative tone. Positive number means positive tone. And then this is the country, state, and city from where the tweet originated from. Not necessarily where the tweeter lives, but wherever they originated the tweet from. Because if they're on a mobile device, it could be anywhere if they're traveling. And then, of course, the text of the actual tweet. So go ahead and open that up. My little screen. Oh, it's in the way. One sec. Pulled it up down here. There we go. Open up that database. Alright, it pulled it up over here. I'm on a Mac running Parallels, so I've got this little virtual machine running. Okay, so here's our tables. Here's the tweet. Here's my is reshare, retweet count, clout score, sentiment. Clout score is in this table. Now, you may have done an assignment earlier where we divided this unnormalized data into 3 tables. Now, clout score, in a previous example, I put with the tweeter because it's something about the tweeter. Well, the problem is this clout score can change. And so, in this case, I've got the idea of a tweeter. Let's look at number 4, tweeter number 4 right here. So this represents a person. He or she tweeted something that didn't get retweeted, so their clout score went down, but then their next tweet got retweeted 3 times, so their clout score went back up. So I have clout score in this table because even though it's repeated, we repeated the number 60 twice here for the same user, but since it can change, I get more richness of data if I keep it here in this table. So I told you previously this is something you could have gone either way with, and in this case we're keeping clout here in this table. Anyway, here's tweeter, first name, last name. Oh, whoops, this is, I should have deleted this row before. Oh well, we'll leave it in there. Alright, then we have the location table, just a country, state, city. Alright, so we've examined the data. Let's create a new query. Query design, I'm going to close that out, switch to SQL view. And now, there we go. Let's start answering these questions below. So, query number 1, create a list of all retweets. Include only the tweet, so the text of the tweet. Order it by the text alphabetically descending. Not a problem. So what I'm going to do is copy these right into here so you can see them as I go along. And that text is ridiculously small. Can I make that bigger? I think I can. 1 sec. Okay, that's a little bit better. Hopefully you're on a good internet connection so you're getting this video in high quality here. Alright, so I'm assuming you've already gone through SQL in the previous video, so I'm going to go a bit quicker now. We know that we need to select, and you know what these keywords are. It says include only the tweet, so the field that gives me the tweet itself is called text. This is the tweet right here. Cool, not a problem. Select text. From refers to the table name, tweet, and I only want all retweets. So I'm going to have to say where, what options do I have? Let's look at the tweet. Right here I have a field called is reshare, and that's a checkbox. So whenever we have a data type that is a yes, no, we can refer to it in a couple of ways. Let me show you what those 2 ways are. Close this out. First way, type is reshare in here, that's the name of the field. We say is reshare equals, oops, let me move my cursor, true. Now, true and false is what we used for the yes, no data type. So true is, you'll notice something unique here. It's text. It's not a number, but I'm not putting quotes around it because it's a data type, that Boolean or that yes, no value. And for only that data type, the yes, no, we sometimes call it a bit, I can use the keywords true and false. And in fact, since it's a keyword, I'm going to make it all capitalized here. And also, while I'm at it, let me go ahead and include is reshare in what I return so that we can verify that, yes, these are all the reshared tweets. So let me run that. Oh, I forgot I got to delete the problem here. Don't let me forget I got to order it by tweet alphabetically, descending. Okay, here we go. Yep, these are all the reshared tweets. And in fact, in the text of the tweet, it gives you this little RT that lets you know who it was retweeted from. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Or we could say give us everything that was not a retweet, where is tweet equals false. That works too. I'm going to take reshare out of there. Well, no, not yet, because I want to show you one other way to do this. You can put in the number 0, which means false, or you can put in, and don't ask me why, -1, not 1, but -1 refers to true. So you can do it either way when you're referring to a true, false, yes, no value. I want those are true, so I'll leave that. Also, I only want to return the text. So here we go, all retweets. Oh, but it did tell me to order them alphabetically descending, so order by text descending. Okay, there we go. Save it. That is query 1. All right, let's keep going. Query 2. In fact, let me pull it up on here so I'm always working inside of my educator. So I'm working all inside of Windows and not going back and forth. Here we are. Okay. We did these last time. Next one. Create a list of all tweeters. Okay. Order by last name ascending and then first name descending. Not a problem. Last name ascending, first name descending. Create query design. Close it out. SQL view. I think I'm actually going to move this further down. All right. A list of all tweeters ordered by last name. It doesn't say what to return exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and include first name, last name. Then list of all tweeters. It's going to be from the tweeter table. Doesn't say any criteria, so not a problem. Order by lname. Oh, I see. Oh, I've got 2 order bys. That's what you're learning here. So I want to first order by last name ascending. Now, by default, I've taught you before that when you say order by, it'll automatically assume you mean descending. So I'm going to leave off, although I could put ASC right there, I can leave it off, but all right, I'll leave it there. And then first name after that, descending. So if I want to order by multiple criteria, I simply list them out here with commas, and I can have each one of them be a different order and all that. I could take this off and it would work fine and all that. So let's run that. Oh, it says, hey, don't forget to delete all this stuff. Not a problem. There we go. There's my tweeters. Ordered first by last name and then by first name, and that's ascending, starting with A, and then first name descending. So it went with Y, then to V, and then eventually up to A's, and then different last name, starting with the smallest letter. All right, quick and easy. Save that one. Query 2, all done. Okay, next one. Whoops. What countries, now some of these are simply written in as questions. All right, create query design, SQL view. All right, what countries do the tweets originate from? Okay, do not list duplicates. Sort the countries alphabetically. Hint, use distinct. So now you're going to get to learn this distinct keyword. So select, we want country. Now let's look in location. What's that field called? It is called country, no problem. Oh, I should have deleted this one earlier. Yeah, okay, no problem. I'll delete that later. All right, select country from, that's the location table. Now in this case, we know that we've only stored countries that have tweets associated with them. If the minimum cardinality from location to tweet was a 0 to many, meaning I could have a location even if there were no tweets, or a location with many tweets, that would be a different issue. We're going to assume that every location stored has a tweet associated with it to keep this simple. So it says sort the countries alphabetically. Let's handle that. Order by country. And we've done everything here except for making sure to list the countries only once. If we simply do this and run it, it says, okay, I'm going to list each country every time that I find a tweet for it. So this is every time that it shows up in the country database. But I don't want that. So let's go back here to SQL view, and we're going to use a keyword called distinct. Distinct. I can spell it right. There we go. Distinct says, just give me one version of each one of these. Run. And there we go. Now, as an extension, you can add more fields to this. How about country and state? So now what it's going to do is say, if I have multiple states for a country, go ahead and list out the country multiple times, but each state only once. So if I didn't have that, I gotta stop doing that. Command cut, whoops, cut that out. Then some combinations of country state, like right here, get repeated. And this is saying that with distinct, every field that appears after this keyword distinct, separated by commas, it's going to look at unique values of the combination of those two. So now we only get cities listed once. All right, that, no, I got to take off state because we're just looking for country. Save, query 3, let's keep going. All right, who has the top 10 clout scores? Time to learn another new keyword. Also very useful for select statements. Whoops, not that. Close query 3. Create, query design, close, SQL view, paste. All right, who has the top 10 clout scores? Sort them by score, descending, return their names and scores. All right, select fname, lname, and their score, and the score is called clout. But this is going to come from a different table. Clout is in the tweet table, so that means we need to make this from, whoops, tweeter and tweet. Let's go ahead and join those like we did in the previous video, where tweeter ID, and I think we're going to have to refer to the table tweeter.tweeter ID equals tweet.tweeter ID. Now, just in case you've forgotten, let's remind you what's going on right here. So I have two tables that I need to pull information from. I've got the tweeter table because I need their first name and last name, and here's their tweeter ID, their primary key, and the tweet table, which has over here a foreign key version of tweeter ID. So I've got the exact same field name used twice, which means that in my query I have to say, each time I use tweeter ID, I have to say which table I'm pulling it from. And I'm saying where the tweeter ID, that's the primary key, in the tweeter table is equal to tweeter ID, the foreign key in the tweet table. So that's what that's doing, joining the records together. All right, top 10 clout scores. Okay, we need to return the names and the scores. And it does say sort them by score descending, so let's go ahead and handle that order by clout descending. Now let's start with this right here. It says, look, hint, use the top 10 keyword. We'll get to that in a second. Let's just run this one for now. All right, so here's every first name with the highest clout scores descending. That's huge. 84 is like celebrity status. If you go to Clout and figure out what your score is, a lot of celebrities don't have scores that high. Anyway, let's go back to our SQL view. What we need to use is a keyword called top. Whoops, hold on. Okay, let's do this. I've actually going to have to change something here. But let me show you. Let's just proceed like this. Put in top 10 right here. And we're going to try and run this because we want the top 10 clout scores order descending. When I hit run, it's going to give me an error. It's going to say, hey, there's something not quite right about this. The reason why is whenever we use this top 10 keyword right here, we have to use it as the first element of the select statement. So we just have to move that to the beginning and hit run. When we look at this and we say, wait a minute, that's more than 10. In fact, there's 20, and it repeats the same person multiple times. That's not what we want, is it? We want to somehow filter out those who have been repeated. So can we combine what we learned previously? Yes, we can. Put right here, distinct, top 10 clout, fname, lname, and then run it. There we go. Irene Dowd, here's our top 10 results in descending order. So you can combine things, but there are rules about how it has to be used. For example, when I use the top anything, and I can change this 10 to 1, to 2, to 3, to 4, to 100, whatever you feel like, but that has to be first. I can also use distinct, but that has to come before the word top 10. So I can't say top 10 distinct cloud, that wouldn't, clout, fname, lname, that wouldn't work either. They have to be used in this order. Okay, very useful things when we're doing queries, distinct and top something or other. Let's save that one and move on. All right, next up. Where am I at? Right, 5. Okay, which tweets were retweeted at least 50 times? Give their name, location, country, state, city, the tweet itself, and the actual number of retweets. Not a problem. Okay, pull up access. Close these ones out. Start a new one. Create, query design, close, SQL. Whoops. No, come on, I thought I copied that. There we go. All right, let's see, we need name. Select, fname, lname. Location, country. So we need country, state, city, the tweet itself, which is called text, and the actual number of, is it capitalized? I think it is. Tweets. Not that it has to be, I just like to be consistent with however it's named. All right, where are these all going to come from? Well, we know that fname, lname is from the tweeter table, country, state, city is from location, text comes from tweet. We're going to need all of them. So let's go ahead and pull all of them in. Tweet, tweeter, location. Remember, it doesn't matter what order we put those in there with the type of query join we're about to do. Let's go ahead and join these three tables up. We're always going to need a separate join statement, or I don't even know what we should call this, equivalent or operator, a separate join operator, there we go, for each join among these three tables. So it takes two relationships to connect all three tables together. So we're going to need two of those statements. So tweeter dot tweeter ID is going to equal tweet dot tweeter ID, and now we got to connect tweet to location. So location dot location ID equals tweet dot location ID. Okay, they're all joined up. Now we need to handle this first part. Which tweets were retweeted at least 50 times? Okay, well, then we need another where condition. And let me make sure I'm getting this right. Tweet, retweet. Oh, you know, it's called retweet count. I apologize. The capital R, capital C. Whoops. So back up here, I better call it retweet count. And then down here, retweet count greater than or equal to 50, because it says at least 50 times. It doesn't say how to sort it, so okay, let's go with this. Delete and view. Okay, Pippa Short, I love it, in the UK, in Greater London, City of London, had this retweet 150 times. Did I say that it has to be a retweet? No, I didn't. But notice those that are getting tweeted a lot, except here's one that's not a retweet. See, I can tell these are all retweets because it includes that RT at. But this one's not a retweet. It's got 81 times. Just look at this data. What does this tell you about the tweets that get retweeted? Well, those that get retweeted are often retweets themselves. Why would that be? Well, it makes sense that Pippa Short, or whoever this is, that retweeted it because they thought that whoever said it said something very important that others should hear. And so if someone has said something useful and important, naturally it's going to keep getting retweeted a lot as well. So it makes sense that if I were to predict which one of these tweets in this tweet table are going to often get retweeted, it's going to be those often that are retweets themselves, but not necessarily always. In some of these cases, we're getting the original tweet, like right here, that eventually got retweeted many times. Anyway, kind of cool. We do these queries not just because our instructor asked them to. In the real world, we do queries because we have questions we're trying to answer, or problems we're trying to solve, or something we're trying to figure out. So anyway, save this one, query 5, close it out. Okay, next one. How many tweets came from each country? Not a problem. Create, query design, SQL view. How many tweets came from each country? Okay, now hopefully you remember from the last time we used this group by clause. So let's do this one. Select. We want to count up tweets. So the keyword there is count, but what should we count? Well, remember, count is different from the other operators like max, min, sum, average. Count, it doesn't matter what we put in here as long as that field has a value for each row that we're counting up. So a primary key is often the best thing to count because you know a primary key can't be blank where some fields could be blank. So if we're counting tweets for each country, let's go ahead and count tweet IDs. I think that's what it's called. We have a tweet ID. Oh no, in here it's just called ID. So count ID. And we also want to, it doesn't say what to list, but let's assume obviously they're going to need country in there in order to put the count along with. From, what tables are these going to come from? Obviously tweet and location. Where? Let's go ahead and tie these together. Tweet.id, .location ID equals location.location ID. And then what do we need next? It doesn't say how to order it, so let's not worry about ordering, but we do need group by. And what goes in group by? Well, if you remember from the previous video, whenever we use an operator like count, everything that doesn't have an operator around it, like count, max, min, average, sum, meaning country, anything left over that we want to return that we're not using an operator on goes down here in the group by statement, country. All right, let's go ahead and return that one. View, there we go. Tweets by country. And because the country table was already sorted alphabetically, it came back alphabetic. But let's say that we want to sort it by number of tweets. Where does order by go? Does it go before or after the group by? Well, if you're not sure, just try it out. Order by, we just put back right in there like it was. Whoops, come on. Count ID. Now, if we do this, it's going to be ascending. I think it'd probably be more interesting to look at the count descending so that we can see who has the most. US, obviously that's where Twitter's from. Germany tweets a lot. UK, it's like all the European countries. And down the list. Cool, we got tweets from everywhere. Anyway, though, let's save this one without this because it didn't tell us to order by. Save it and close. All right, next one. Let's go ahead and create our query and get it all ready to go. You scroll down. Where is it at? Here we go. What were the 20 tweets with the most negative sentiment? Okay. List sentiment, tweet, clout score, number of tweets that each got. No problem. Back in Access. All right. Paste. Here we go. Select sentiment. The text is what we call that tweet. Clout score. Retweet count. From, where those are going to come from. Let's see, obviously the tweet table for sentiment. Text, cloud. They all come from the tweet table. Okay, perfect. Let's see. It doesn't say how to order them. How about where clause? Anything? Any criteria? Well, the criteria is the most negative sentiment. Well, how can we handle that? First, let's go ahead and order it then, rather than a where. Let's order it by sentiment. And to start with the most negative, we would leave it as ascending because it's going to start with the smallest number, go up to the highest, and the smallest is negative. So, but how do we just get the top 20 most negative? Well, think about things we learned earlier. Let's use top 20 and start with that and see where that gets us. Delete. Run. All right, here we go. Sentiment. Here's the tweet. Let's take a look at it. We got the clout score, retweet count. So, a tech background. Who needs it? Not this person. It doesn't seem that negative to me. I guess it's saying who needs a tech background. I guess I can come across as negative. Still early in the cloud wars. No time for celebrating at AWS. I wonder what's negative about this. Well, probably the keyword wars made it like that. Just received an email from AWS asking why I haven't paid my outstanding amount of $0. Kind of curious, and 0 cents. Like I said, don't be offended by these tweets. So yeah, that makes sense to me. These are negative. Do negative tweets get retweeted a lot? Well, I definitely see a decent retweet count of these negative retweets. Interesting. But we've got an issue here. I asked for the top 20 and it's given me 24. Why is that? Well, let's go back and take a look. Do we need, for example, distinct? Well, let's try and put that in. Run again. The amount of data, the field type is too small to accept the amount of data you attempted to add. Try inserting or pasting this data. Does that make any sense? No, it doesn't. It doesn't like using distinct across each of these fields. Sometimes that keyword is limited. Well, why else would it be giving us 24? Well, just take a look at it and see if you can think about why. Notice the sentiment score. -6, -6, -4.5, -4. Here's the problem. I've got 21 tweets with a sentiment of -4. That gets us to a total of 24 after accounting for the more negative tweets. So which 4 do I drop off the list? Well, it can't decide, so even though I only asked for a top 20, it's going to give me all of them that are tied at this score of -4. All right. So that's why we've got it. So this is still the correct answer for that problem. All right. Let's save that. I'm actually going to leave it up because we're about to compare that to show the 20 tweets with the most positive sentiment. Okay, let's do that. Create, query, close SQL. I'm just going to be smart and copy what I just did. Query 8. Whoops, don't do that. What do you think we're going to do different to get the most positive sentiment, top 20? how about we just change the order by from ascending to descending? Now these should be the most positive ones, but I've got a little more here. By the way, what do you learn from this? What is the effect of the tone of your tweet on the number of retweets you get? So let's take a look. Run this. Okay. Sentiment 6, it's equally positive. Those other ones were negative. And it returns 116 because it looks like I have a whole bunch of them with a sentiment score of 4. Well, let's scroll through here. Some of these got quite a few retweets. If we look up here at the very top, what's interesting is our very most positive ones didn't necessarily get, oops, let's change that one. There we go. It looks like I get maybe somewhat more. I don't know. Maybe it's more like the same. I think I get a similar amount of retweets, whether it's highly negative or highly positive, if I take into account all of these different 4s. I'd have to look at the average number though, but it's possible you might get more retweets for tweeting negative stuff. My guess is that the retweet count, or what we'll learn from this, is that the retweet count is highest for things that are either extremely negative or extremely positive. And if we were to look at an average of all the tweets where the tone is 0, it would probably be a smaller retweet count. So the tone of the reason why we keep track of sentiment or calculate this score, if I'm a social media analytics company or a company trying to analyze my own social media impact, I would want to look at the sentiment or the tone of voice and see if that affects how much people care about what I say, and then use that to guide how I craft future tweets. So that's something that there are companies that do, that analyze, like Nuvi is a local Utah company. They do social media analytics and they help companies craft and make better tweets and other type of social media decisions so they can get more impact out of their social media presence. Kind of a cool field. Alright, let's close both of these. Yep, save it. Query 8. Alright, next one. What is the average clout score by country? Return the country and clout score. That's pretty straightforward. Let's do it. Alright. Average clout score by country. Select. We know we're going to need the clout score. And we need to return country and clout score. Now I'm going to, I can't remember. Well, let me do country first. Let's find out. Country. Now clout, if you remember from the previous video, average, we're going to use AV, I think it's G, if I remember right. If not, it's AVE. We'll find out. Select country, average clout, from, these come from 2 different tables. Tweet, location. So we're going to have to have a where clause that ties them together. Tweet.location ID equals location.location ID. We've got to then group by, because we have an operator here, average, and anything that doesn't have an operator around it we have to include in the group by clause. And this is what, it's kind of like distinct in that it's going to list each country one time and then give you the average across all the scores for that country. So, but we use this specifically when we've got, the operator here. Country and clout score. Let's go ahead and give it a try. It says, whoa, oh, it says delete this. All right, here we go. Let's stretch this out. There we go. That's our issue. All right, country, clout score. I think it would be more interesting for us to sort these, even though they didn't ask us to. Usually when we're looking at scores and a higher score is better, we're going to want to order by AVG clout. Remember that whenever we have a group by and an order by still always comes last. Oh, duh. And what I meant to do was, if a higher number is better, we make it descending. Okay, Bulgaria. Wow, most influential people seem to be tweeting from Bulgaria. You know what else would be interesting to add to analysis like this? It would be, give me the count of all tweets from a certain place. So let's count up ID of the tweet table. Run that. And we don't like these names X per 1001 and X per 1002. Let's name these something useful. We did this last time, may as well do it again. Average clout as average clout. Count of ID as number of tweets. There we go. All right, so Bulgaria has the highest average clout, but they don't tweet a lot. So what does this tell me if I'm a business manager? I may not want to put too much stock in Bulgaria. It could just be that those who happen to be tweeting about Amazon Web Services are those in Bulgaria with higher clout scores. But what you might want to do is think of another way to combine these measures in some way, or do a filter on only those who have tweeted a certain number of times or something like that before you make any decisions. But let's go ahead and move on for now. Query 9. Yep, save changes, query 9. Okay, back to our tweets. Scrolling down. All right, 10. Show me a list of tweeters from each country outside of the U.S. with clout scores between 60 and 80. Order the list by country. Okay, copy. Let's see, let's get rid of this one I was playing with. Nope. Let's create query, close. All right, select list of tweeters. So we're going to want first name, last name from every country outside the U.S. So let's go ahead and give them country. They're not being specific. With clout scores between 60 and 80, so they're probably going to want to know the clout score. Order by country. All right, so where do these come from? Obviously, we've got tweeter for first name, last name, location for country, and clout's going to come from the tweet table. All right, where tweeter dot tweeter ID equals tweet dot tweeter ID, and tweeter dot location ID equals location dot location ID. We know that we're going to, where clout scores. So a couple of criteria where from each country outside of the U.S. and clout scores between 60 and 80. Order the list by country. Let's take care of these other criteria here. Each country outside the U.S. So how about and country not equal to United States. All right, let's see if that works. Run. Oh, I got to get rid of this. Run. Oh, did I misspell something? Location ID. Oh, tweet dot location ID equals location dot location ID. All right, so here we go. Oh yeah, I've got that record I made accidentally called fname lname country. Sorry, ignore that one. But here we go. Clout scores. No, that didn't. Well, so I've got tweeters from each country, but I haven't restricted clout scores to those between 60 and 80. But what I don't have is the United States showing up in my list of countries. Okay, now let's restrict this to just those with clout scores between 60 and 80. And clout, let's do something different. We're going to say and clout, we're going to say greater than 60, but also it's got to be, and clout less than 80. But it says between 60 and 80, so we better say greater than or equal to 60 and less than or equal to 80. It also said previously to order by country. Okay? Order by country. Okay, everybody between 60 and 80, ordered by country. This is our top tweeters. Now check it out though. We do have the same people listed multiple times. It didn't expressly tell us not to do that, but I think you can assume if you're in a business environment that that's not something you need to do, is list the same person a whole bunch of times for every time they've tweeted. So why don't we add into here distinct fname, lname, country, clout. All right, now what we get here, we do still get the same people listed twice, but only if they have multiple clout scores. So what's the purpose of this query? Maybe your company wants to go and target these influential tweeters. In that case, what we could do is create a kill the clout score from off of here, because they already know that it's something high between 60 and 80 that they like. And let's go back to SQL, and I moved this over here temporarily. Let's just take this off and say distinct across FNAME, LNAME, and country. Then it's not going to worry about the different clout scores. Run this. There we go. Now we've got each person listed once, 94 total records, and it's efficient because nobody's listed twice. So I know I went a little bit above and beyond on this one from what the question required, but let's go ahead and save it, close it. Let's head back here. All right, which state in the U.S. is using Twitter the most? All right, show me a list of the number of tweets sent from each state, starting with the most. Sounds good. Create. All right. Which state is using the Twitter the most? Show me a list of the number of tweets sent from each state, starting with the most. All right, this is pretty straightforward. Select, let's do first of all, the state, and then a count, whoops, I like to capitalize these, all uppercase, ID, from, location for state, tweet in order to count the tweets, where tweet.location ID equals location.location ID. We are using an operator count, so we better group by whatever is not currently wrapped in an operator. State, does it say to order? Yep, starting with the most. So order by that count of ID. Like we said before, let's make sure that we, well, first of all, run it. Oh, yeah, I got to get rid of this. Let's make sure it's all working. Oh, sorry. I can't just type count of ID. I'm getting tired. Order by count of ID. There we go. Starting with the most, I got to make sure I better order by this descending. And also, let's make sure we give this a name as number of tweets. There we go. State, number of tweets. Now, hold on. What's going on here? Is Bavaria a state? We forgot. Now we've got other countries, and we've called various countries inside those countries states. So I just said for the United States, didn't I? I think that's what it was. In the U.S., yep. So we can fix that easily. How would you make sure these are only in the U.S.? Come here and add another criterion to where. And how about just country equals United States. My screen is so small. Is that a double quote? Looks like it might be. Okay, let's give that a try. There we go. These are all states or capital. That works. Illinois. A lot of tweeters in Illinois. Interesting. Who doesn't tweet? North Dakota. Typical. All right. Save this one. Moving on. All right. Only a couple left. What is the average retweet count for tweets that include a URL link versus those that don't? Hint, use union. Oh, we get to learn a new operator here. This will be interesting. All right, let's copy this guy. Access, create. What am I doing? Query design, close, SQL. Okay, hold on. I think I didn't copy that quite right. There we go. Copy. All right. Average retweet count for tweets that include a URL versus those that don't. Hint, use union. Cool. Okay, so let's calculate average retweet count for those that include a URL. How do you know if something includes a URL or not? Let's take a look at the tweets. Okay, what is a URL? Well, look at this. Look through here. Come on. Why can't I expand? What's happened? All right, let's scroll down. All right, here's a URL. HTTP www. All right, they're referring to some link in their tweet. And it didn't count, tweets don't count this text against you, which is why you can get higher number of characters in these tweets. But anyway, A URL is going to include http://www dot, right? Well, got to be careful. Sometimes links are HTTPS, as we learned in the security chapter. Sometimes links don't include www. So how about we just say, why don't we just search for HTTP and anything after it? Whether it's S, whether or not it includes www, we know that it's a link then, right? So let's close that out. Let's say select average retweet, or is it reshare count? I can never remember. Retweet count. All right. Count. Well, that's all really. From tweets, or tweet, where text like, did I get a space in there? I don't think so. There we go. HTTP, and then anything after it. Well, can there be anything before the HTTP? Sure, because a link can include anywhere. So let's put that right there. And this will get us the average for those that include a link. All right, let's run that. Here we go. The average retweet count when you include a link is 10.1 retweets. All right, interesting. Let's give that thing a name. As link included. Now what we want to do here is add on to this a second select statement that'll show us those where a link is not included. That's where we use the keyword union. Whoops, whoa, easy. Union. Okay, now I don't have to space down, I just like to do that. And I'm going to copy this, paste, and say where text, and I'm going to use a keyword not like HTTP. Run. Okay, my union puts this one first. The second query, all a union does is adds the results of this one to the results of this one. And in this case, it put it first. So, sorry, let me change this to as link or as not included. I capitalize it. What the? Shift I included. There we go. So sorry. Okay. So it uses the header from the first one. See how that one overwrote my link not included for the second one? But this is the results of the first one here that we did, and that's the results of the second one. So what does this tell us? When a link is included, are we more likely to get retweets when a link is included or when it's not? Kind of cool. So including a link, we're more likely to get retweeted. Well, does simply having a link, is that what's causing you to get more retweets, or is it the fact that you linked to something that was desirable and cool that caused it to be included? So anyway, you have to be careful when you get these results and as you interpret the data to make sure that you're coming to valid conclusions. But kind of cool to see. I mean, this is real Twitter data that we've been analyzing, well, although the names are fake, but including a link and using a very highly positive or highly negative tone, it seems to be good for you to get for getting retweets. Cool, so that's how we use union. We simply just put it in between a couple of select statements, and it adds the results as rows down the sheet. But you run into some problems if you're using custom, or you're creating field names based on some operators. All right, let's save that. Query 12, and that is it. There was a 13, but it was kind of a dumb example, so I deleted it out of there. Anyway, this is our extended practice. Play around with, practice with, if you don't remember it too well, the distinct, top, and union keywords. And you are now a master SQL coder.